Alright, Water Wind Festival. I know most of you probably aren't Magic Spectre enjoyers. You know, there's probably not very many decks you own that are completely legal for this event. But fortunately, this is an event that has a lot of low cost and budget options that you can play, even if you don't own a deck. Specifically, let's start with the loaners. The loaners are actually decent. These are some of the best loaners I've seen. They even give you the UR non-engine that has been excluded from a lot of previous ones. You know, they give you Mourner and Imperm, I believe, in all of these, right? So you got Mourner, Imperm, Mourner, Imperm. Yeah, Mourner, Imperm. So you have 6 copies of Mourner, 6 copies of Imperm, essentially, which is not bad. And the decks themselves are fine. Now, I know if you actually play the deck, these decks, you'll know there's some odd card choices and maybe some of the ratios look very funny, and I know that might cause some of you to pull your hair out, but for the most part, if you're just playing, if you just want to, you know, get through the event and, you know, have like you can probably maintain a better than 50% win rate with these loaners, because these loaners are quite decent. Yeah, if you're lazy, you don't want to, if you don't want to go ahead and even build a deck, just play these. You can play all 3 of them. They're all perfectly valid, and they're you know, you can spice it up. There's not one I think that's clearly better than the other 2 as well. Unlike previous events where, you know, there was clearly one loaner that was better than the other 2, and like you should be playing that one if you want to complete the event. I think these are all relatively fine. So first is Ice Barrier. This is a synchro spam deck. Your main starters are going to be Revealer of the Ice Barrier, where you discard a card, you special summon an Ice Barrier tuner from your deck, and then George's, it's a Dweller effect on field. You know, all of these Ice Barriers have random floodgate effects, but it's also a extender that you can special summon if you control an Ice Barrier monster, which then also summons another Ice Barrier monster from grave. So this is like an extender plus a revive from grave, which is like pretty. I mean, you can tell this is a new support for Ice Barrier, like from like 2024, and yeah, Mirror of the Mage of the Ice Barrier. Oh, sorry. Also, gets summons tokens, lets you synchro climb, all that stuff. You have Ice Gate Rand Eatering by itself. This makes a level 10 water synchro. So literally, Eatering by itself makes your boss monster Lancia. And Lancia, you have this, and if your opponent special summons a monster, then you get to summon these Ice Barrier monsters from your deck, and a lot of them have like neat, quote-unquote neat floodgate effects. You know, you can special summon a Raiho out of your deck, and your opponent has to discard every time they want to use a monster effect. Again, there's Georges. You can just Dweller your opponent. You can summon out. Did they add any of the other good ones? I know there's no Spellbreaker. There's no essentially there's no Cold Wave Ice Barrier. Yes, there does exist a Cold Wave Ice Barrier. Wonder if I can see in the related cards. Yeah, Spellbreaker. This essentially Cold Waves your opponent, both you and your opponent, from spells. Well, yeah, but Cold Wave is 2-sided. Duh, that's what Cold Wave does. But yeah, they didn't include this, so you know, lucky for us, we don't have to face loners with a bunch of with the strongest floodgates effects. But I mean, yeah, you can end on multiple synchros in this deck. For some reason, they didn't give you Dragite, so that's kind of a troll, because without that, you don't really have a spell trap negate, so you are kind of open to evenly. That's a bit troll, Konami. What the hell is that? Whatever. They give you pack bait for free. They give you multiple Trishlas, multiple Lances. These are all URs, so they're pretty generous with this one. Speedroid. Again, weird choices. Triple Speedroid Scratch. That's a lot of discarding for this card. Generally, Speedroid decks don't run this because there's better consistency options, and you don't generally need this. But you know, you got the 3 Terratops, 2 Togen Tomborg. I guess Konami doesn't know that Togen Tomborg is not a brick in actual Speedroids. This is a good card, much better than the Speedroid Manko and the Horse Stilts that it's running for you for some reason. These are not normally seen in normal Speedroid decks, but for the most part, you can They gave you a Crystal Wing, they gave you Clear Wing Synchro, Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. You can make both turn 1, and then you have Monster Negate and a Spell Trap Negate, so they're evenly negate. You have Rubber, they gave you 2 Rubber Band Shooters and 2 Cork Shooters, so that's generous of them. They gave you the proper ratios of these. You needed to start your plays, and yeah, go ahead and mess around with these decks. Also, Goatee. So this might be the hardest deck to grasp out of the 3 loners because it plays differently than a standard Yu-Gi-Oh deck. You're comboing a lot on your opponent's turn instead of just your own. Like your own turn, you're setting things up, like you're activating effects, but also you're doing a lot of your plays on your opponent's turn. So you have to plan ahead. And this card is shit. Don't know why they gave you this. Multiple Sykes, multiple Keith. We'll take it. Multiple White Sunfish. This is this xenophobic motherfucker. This card does not combo with any other card except exactly White Sardine. So the fact that they gave you 2 is kind of troll because you could search it for with White Reincarnation. And yeah, Fishborg Harpooner, nice. Tune of a Princess, nice. And this deck has Dragite, so this deck has an out to evenly, and it has a Spell Trap Negate too, unlike the Ice Bearer one. Yeah, you can only one Goatee of the Deep Beyond, maybe a little suspect, but idea is you want to banish your Goatee monsters and set up Goatee of the Deep Beyond in your opponent's turn, and you just wipe your opponent's field full banners. Oh yeah, you don't have to you don't have to spend any UR to play these decks. You just play these owners. They're perfectly acceptable and fine. So we have Floowandereeze, and while clearly this is not going to be one of the best decks, it is budget, and Konami literally made it so that you cannot play anything but a budget version of Flu, because they actually they banned the quick play spell Floowandereeze and Advent. You know, the card that lets you dodge all the hand traps, and by all the hand traps I mean exactly Infirm, because that's the only real one that Advent would let you dodge this event. But yeah, this is a consistency tool. It adds any Flu card, so you're not gonna have this. So you're not gonna have the UR. I mean, Snow is legal, but honestly, you don't need to run Snow. No, that is not UR as necessary. And the big hit is that they banned a trap card, which means that you're going to have to rely on map control. So should be okay for the most part, unless you run into too much spell and trap removal. Then yeah, it might be a problem. Again, this isn't going to be the best deck, but if your opponent doesn't have the specific outs and they have to actually normal sub and play into the map, this deck is still annoying as hell to play. What's also banned is Mist Valley Apex Avion for some reason, so they banned the Awning Negate, so Flu they literally just banned all the UR cards that you play in Flu. So that literally this entire main deck, the core is basically just SR or lower. And yeah, no Awning Negate means you have no out to evenly matched, so that's also kind of an issue, although maybe less so for Flu, because you still have the if they evenly you can still decide to keep your map, so that main phase 2, even though they do evenly you, they normal summon something, it still triggers all your burbs, and evenly doesn't even banish your burbs face up or face down, because I mean, ruling wise, thank you Yu-Gi-Oh, but all these burbs, if somehow your burbs get banished by evenly, they will go face up banished instead of face down banished, so you still get to recycle them as a resource. So yeah, I don't know why the game works like that, but thanks Konami for that ruling. And yeah, so without the UR options, this is what I filled out the main deck with. Again, Flu players, let me know if there's any other budget options you can play. But yeah, you 3 Rabina, 3 Eglin, 2 of each of Stree and Toucan. Not sure if that's really the right ratio. 3 Tributes, 2 Ryza, 1 Enpen. Could go for a 3rd Ryza, honestly, if you want. If you can find space for it, that's fine. You got the pots. All 3 pots for Flu are legal, so there's still that. Triple Jack in the hand. Also, sort of consistency. Like, if you play in the mirror match, you know, sucks, but hopefully you won't be playing that many mirror matches. The 1 map, the 1 unexplored wins trigger your opponent's monsters. And then for the non-engine, so Droll and Lockbird and evenly, these are super rares. These are going to be everywhere, and you know, Flu is a no exception. Also, you might consider running Call by the Grave just for Droll and Lockbird, because if Droll is expected to be popular, then well, obviously you can't really play Flu if you get Drolled, so that's kind of a thing. I'm playing for the budget options. Again, I'm assuming this is like the lowest amount of URs. Again, most people, if you've been playing for a while, you should own all these staples, like all of these cards I've shown here. You should probably have multiple copies of Imperm, so if you have more than one Imperm, obviously play that, but like absolute worst case scenario, Imperm is from a bundle, so you should probably at least have the one, but if you have 3, I would play 3 Imperm as well. Again, other options here, if you have them, Goatsark, nice, it turns Toucan and Stree into your combo, as well as helps chain block if you already have Rabina or Evelyn, so it's basically like a combo piece. So if you have Goatsark, play that, it's a UR. Lightning Storm, it's from a bundle. Tactics, not really that great since there are not that many hand traps in my opinion, and taking your opponent's monsters and Flu is that great because you can't really like link them off or anything. Obviously, if you're scared of stuff like Droll, you can play Crossed Out or Called By if you have them as well. Droplets, probably, I don't think Droplets is really worth running. Flu, you don't really have the extra resources to be able to send off Droplets usually, so I think something like Chalice is honestly better for Flu. Heartbeat Featherstorm, limited to 1. If you somehow have a copy of this, like the degenerate that I am, feel free to play this. You know, just randomly sack your opponent. Even better if you want to play Thrust. Although again, there's not many hand traps in this format, so like thrusting for Featherstorm going first isn't really going to happen that often. Especially since the only other hand trap legal besides Drolls are like Spooky Dogwood and Ghost Mourner, neither of which do anything to you in the first place. So, Swallow's Calorie. This is the new card from the new pack. It's basically like the Advent of Adventure at home. Basically, you tribute 1 Winged Beast monster in your hand or face up and add a Winged Beast monster from your deck with the same level. So, what's important about this is that you can use this to tribute your Flu monsters on field to dodge stuff like Imperm. Although, again, because Imperm is really the only hand trap that works like that, this format might not be the biggest deal, and it is sort of consistency. Although, if you're running Swallow's Calorie, again, this is a UR, so obviously if you're a budget build, but for some reason you have this card and you haven't dismantled it yet, then I guess you could play this. Then I would probably recommend running 3 copies of Toucan and Stree, just so you have more ways. Then this becomes better, because then you have more targets to banish for Swallow's Calorie. Or not banish, to tribute for Swallow's Calorie to actually get to stuff like your Rabina. And, but yeah, obviously this isn't necessary. It's obviously not going to be part of a budget build. The rest of the other things, other low rarity cards I'm running are like Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse. Don't know how necessary these are, but again, because you don't have Advent Adventure, having these basically guarantees that you push through your place through an Imperm, for example. Again, Imperm is like the only one, so I still don't know if that's necessary, to be honest, but these are nice budget options. They're good for going first, unless you get even lead. You know, then that sucks, but you know, we have a Judgment for that too. The one Judgment is from a bundle deal. If you have more copies of Judgment, feel free to run more copies of Judgment. You know, nothing more annoying than Flu doing their full combo ending on like N-Pen map going first, and then also having a Judgment set. And then Forbidden Chalice is like, honestly, this is one of the better cards, especially if you're playing against something like Goatee, for example, who does a lot of synchro something on your turn. You can just chalice the effects on your turn, so that you don't get owned by too many synchro summons during your own turn, and don't get too many of your cards banished by the Goatee monsters. And I mean, it's also good for just trading one for it, because there's not really a lot of oppressive boards. So if your holding has like one problematic monster, like a Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon, or like a Crystal Wing Dragon or whatever, you know, one Chalice does deal with that as well. And running 1 copy of this. So this is the other Flu trap, in case you didn't know what the hell this card was. This is a counter trap where it negates it's like forced back, if you know what that card is, and negates your opponent's special summon and then returns a monster to hand, and then your opponent can't special summon for the rest of the turn. They can't get up 3 normal summons though. Don't know how relevant that is. Don't know how many decks can actually take advantage of normal summoning a bunch of times, but not actually special summoning. So this card might be fine. I don't know. But I mean, it is another odd because again, without the other trap card, the Reaming Talon, you only have like a limited amount of search targets. So having this as another search target is fine too. And yeah, Flute should, like, this is a festival, should be able to get it done. Should be able to get you all the gems pretty decently. Even if you only pick games where you go first and you don't get even lead, you can afford to do that because there's no rank down system in this festival, thank God. Extra deck doesn't matter at all. Look, man, you know we weren't gonna be able to do a video on budget options for the Water Wind event without being able to do Marincess, which is a deck that's literally budget in every single event is legal in. And unfortunately, Konami are a bunch of haters, and they banned. Oh, let me go here. They banned Marincess Wave. Wow, what a bunch of haters. They were too worried about the meta warping threat of Marincess. Granted, if you're playing a budget build without the URs, then this ban doesn't hurt as badly because normally you would search Wave with Coral Triangle, but if you don't have the Coral Triangle UR, then you wouldn't be able to search Wave in the first place, so you would have to hard draw it. So it's not as big of a deal. It's not as important or integral in a budget version of the deck without the URs. So yeah, I'll go over the URs and I'll go over the replacements you have, which are that you can make if you have extra additional URs, which should be obvious for most people. But yeah, Droll, Hand Trap, this is Marincess. This is a deck that relies on non-engine. We just have to swap the non-engine around because of the event ban list and stuff like that. So 3 Seahorse C, 3 NBT, 3 Pascalis, 3 Spring Girl, 1 Mandarin, 1 Basilalima, 1 Sleepy Maiden. I don't even know if you need Basilalima, to be honest. Probably don't need this, especially if you're like a high-end Marincess player, whatever that means, and you have like real Marincess cards. You could probably do without this. Yeah, Sleepy Maiden, it makes you also not very necessary. So like Basilalima and Sleepy Maiden aren't necessary. You can honestly put 2 more copies of Mandarin instead of these 2 and you'd be perfectly fine. It probably perform just as well, if not better. Yeah, 3 Spring Girl, best extender deck, and then the consistencies, Silent Mining, not even really necessary, to be honest. There are additional options I'll show you later that you can run, that if you don't want to use the Silent Mining. But I mean, since you're a budget build, Silent Mining is free from the structure deck, so you probably already own it, so you might as well. Then 2 Pots, Prosperity and Desires, especially with no Marincess Wave. You don't really care about banishing a lot of stuff, maybe the 1-off Ocean, but worst case scenario, you can just search Ocean. You can just like make your Link 1 and then search Ocean first and then Desires after. Kind of plays into Droll. This deck does kind of play into Droll, so if you have Called by the Graves, maybe you consider playing Called by the Graves as well, or cross out for Droll. Also cross out for evenly matched potentially. 2 Dive, 1 Bad Oceans, like the standard ratio. There's no Kashtira. There's Kashtira Ogre floating around. So if you're worried about Kashtira Ogre banishing your 1 copy of Bad Ocean, I guess you could run a second. I don't think that's I don't think it's really correct to respect Kashtira Ogre in my opinion. But yeah, for the budget non-engine. So again, Book of Moon and Forbidden Chalice, decent going first, decent going second, especially into all like the quick synchro decks. It trades 1-for-1 with like threats like synchros that, you know, maybe like Speedroids make. And if your opponent's trying to synchro summon on your turn with a bunch of goatee monsters, well, Book and Chalice kind of answer that. Droplets actually pretty decent in Marincess because with Bad Ocean you equip a lot of your Marincess monsters to it, and then it gives you free fodder to send for Droplet. And additionally, you get value if you send stuff like Coral Anemone that's attached to your monsters. Because normally, if you don't run the URs, you don't have a way to get the Coral Enemy unequipped off of the Great Bubble Reef like you do if you were to run Aqua Argonaut, because Aqua Argonaut summons the monsters, but Great Bubble Reef doesn't do anything to the monster that's equipped to it. But a droplet is a way to send Coral Enemy that's equipped to your monster off Battle Ocean and then gain value off the Coral Enemy, adding more monsters back for follow-up, stuff like that. Evenly matched. Kind of gotta respect back row, sort of, maybe. I guess mainly like Paleo. You know, you don't want to auto lose the Paleo, so evenly matched is fine. You could go without this, to be honest, and like just and like not use evenly matched as well, because it's dead going first, and it's not like you auto win. Your board that you make going first, like consisting of a rank 4 and a Battle Ocean, is not like enough to auto win the game, even if it is a tower. So don't have to run evenly, but it's a good budget option. So, and it's an SR, so it's might as well. And then draw infinite permanents. If you have 3 infinite permanents, run 3 infinite permanents. You always have 1 from the bundle. Same with Judgment, and then Draco Utopian Aura. So this is actually from the new Galaxy Eye structure deck. So you can spend 1,500 gems and like get a playset of this. This is basically just Solemn Warning. So a Solemn Warning for monsters on the field. So it's alright, and it's decent going second-ish too, depending on what matchup you're playing against. And you can just use this to counter trap a established monster already on the field, and they can't stop it or anything because it's a counter trap. But yeah, that structure deck's a decent investment. That structure deck also has trade in as well, so it's alright if you have like gems to spare. And Draco Utopian Order is also used in, like, I don't know, Zodiac and Stun. If you're interested in those decks, that's really the only other decks that play this card. But this card's not bad. It's pretty decent to have. And then the extra deck, again, the Kragan and the Kragan spawn, because you can make rank 4s. I only put this in here because I own a Royal Kragan. You can put like any rank 4 in here that you want. And then like just 2 of everything, except 2 of all the Link 1s, 2 Anemone, 2 Marbled Rock, because I'm assuming this is a budget build, so you need 2 Link 3s and then 2 Great Bubble Reef. You can make double Great Bubble Reef as well going first if you have enough extenders, and the draw effect is a soft once per turn. So if you have double Great Bubble Reef out, you get to draw 2 cards every standby phase, which is actually pretty decent. seems pretty decent. And the 1 Crystal Heart, again, you need it because there's no wave. You're 100% of the time going for Battle Ocean Crystal Heart if you can. That way you're making an unaffected rank 4, as long as the Battle Ocean's face-ups. So, you know, their spell trap removal and like evenly does still get rid of it, unfortunately. Less of a problem if you're not playing a non-budget Marincess build, but yeah, for the budget, I mean, this is still, honestly, this is fine. This deck is completely fine. 1 area Water Charmer, a Splash Mage, because everything's a Cyber, so it'll help you link climb. And yeah, well, for the other options, the high-end options, you know, if you're a baller, right? Obviously, we have these 3 Marincess links. I consider Zealandus a Marincess link, but yeah, Aqua Argonaut is very nice because Aqua Argonaut is one of the few spell and trap negates in the format. So Aqua Argonaut actually negates evenly match, and that's actually very strong because most of the time, because there's no wave, you're going to go for the Crystal Heart line. So your Argonaut's going to be unaffected with a Battle Ocean in the field, so you can ignore everything they do except the stuff that they do to try to remove your Battle Ocean, you know, stuff like evenly or spell trap removal, and then you can just negate those, whatever spell trap removal they might have with the Aqua Argonaut, and then this is a massive like 4k attack plus towers with Battle Ocean on the field, so that's actually pretty nice. Coral Triangle, honestly, Coral Triangle is not even that important because wave is banned. It doesn't really have a good search target, so you don't even, honestly, you might not even need this, to be honest. You might not even run this. It's good follow-up, it's soul charge, so if you have you know, you might as well make this when you're link climbing on the way up, but it's not as crucial. And then Zealandus, obviously, everyone knows about the Marincess line of like Coral Enemy or like Blue Slug, your Marincess monsters water locking you, and then Zealandus banishing your opponent's field and then not summoning back anything except water monsters. Like, granted, given this event, that's not as good because there's a high chance you're gonna play against the water deck, and And that if that's the case, water locking yourself doesn't matter because your opponent's monsters are also water, so they're gonna special summon back anyway. So this isn't gonna be a full board banish field wipe a lot of the time this event. So yeah, it's not honestly not as crucial, but it still pops cards. You can still like use this effect, co-link with a bunch of Marincess monsters, and pop cards in the battle phase still. So it's still sort of a board wipe. It just doesn't banish the monsters. But it's if you have this, obviously you would run this, and obviously if you run Mourner, I think Mourner's the best card to run. You want hand traps, so Mourner's like you want to play the good legal hand traps. Tactics not as great because again there's not that many hand traps. Care about Call by the Grave and Cross Out. Again, Droll is kind of hurts sometimes, but not all the time. So it's kind of weird because you don't really care about Mourner. Like Mourner is honestly not that big of a deal. You can play like it's not bad getting traded 1-for-1 through your opponent's hand traps because like your opponent you're gonna make a Link 4 anyways, usually most of the time. And oh yeah, I forgot other options. So yeah, Ice Jade. Specifically, if you own Gamer Agerine, the UR, then you could also run Ran Agerine. And you could run this in place of like Cyan Mine, because Ran Agerine requires a discard. But yeah, this is basically Water Long Yuan, and you can this summons a level, you discard a water monster, and then the special summons a level 3 token, so that automatically gives you a level 10 synchro, so you can go into Ice Gate Gamer Agerine, which is a very nice monster, banishes your opponent's cards, and gives you banish and destruction protection. Also, like, you can go Long Yuan, or what's it called? Changing. Yeah, you can go Chang as well, and you can trigger Chang's effect on your turn too, because Marincess Spring Girl banishes to special summon itself, so you can very easily trigger Chang's banish and then clear the board that way too. So yeah, that's more options. Again, not necessary because the budget build is honestly pretty decent. Just set up a towers, just pray you don't get even lead. that's pretty much it. But if you own an Aqua Argonaut, then you don't have to worry about even lead even. So yeah, Marincess always a contender for events where it's legal in. So now we're going with a blind second deck, and I think the idea of this deck is pretty straightforward, right? It's you make a assemble Nightingale with a bunch of materials, then you have it attack directly, and if it's equipped with an equip spell, it's generally game. Now Konami had some thought ahead about this, and they actually banned the best equipped card, which is where is it? Psychic Blade. Right here. Okay, Psychic Blade. Basically, this gives you 2k attack, so this makes it very easy to OTK with Assemble Nightingale. Now, what they didn't realize is that this is not the only equip card that works for this deck that allows you to OTK. Case in point, check out these 6 right here. So we have Backup Rider and Power Up the Guardians. So Backup Rider 1500 attack. You get a 4 material Assembled Nightingale, that's still game. So you don't need the Psychic Blade. Number second equip spell, Power of the Guardians, the progression playoff staple. When you declare an attack, you place a spell counter on this, and the monster gains 500 each spell counter. Basically, if you have like a 4 material Assembled Nightingale, you attack 4 times, this gets 4 attack counters, it gets additional 500 attack every time, and eventually, like after the 4th attack, it'll be game. So yeah, you can still do that line, and because of that, you know, you can still play blind second Lyrilusc OTK, and you don't even need the UR's extra deck monsters. Now they do help, and I will go over other UR options you can use to fill in this deck if you happen to have them, but just for a budget version, this is perfectly fine. So you're running like 3 copies of all of these birds: Cobalt, Sapphire, Turquoise, all the good ones. 3 Simorgh, this is basically just an additional level 1 monster that lets you normal summon another one if you open 2 Simorgh bird at the beginning, but it is just basically another level 1 bird and then slower swallow if you control if you control 2 or more monsters, basically any of these 2 level 1s, you can just special summon this, so that's more level 1s. Barrier Canaro, this is only one you run at 2 because it requires setup unlike the other ones. And yeah, 3 Celestial Wagtail. Obviously, 3 Aware Arfdal, triple Jack in Hand for consistency, triple Bird Call, and Bird Sanctuary, underrated search target. So if you happen to have, for example, if you need to use Promenade Thrush to you know, kill one of your opponent's back row, target one of their spell traps, and shovel it back to the deck, then you have like another Nightingale chilling. You can use Bird Sanctuary, and then just attach the Thrush materials onto the Nightingale, and suddenly your Nightingale probably has enough materials to be able to OTK given one of these cook spells. So yeah, and then Desires for consistency, Bundle because you're going second, Bundle because you're going second, Droplets, Bundle because you're going second, and then Swallow's Nest just for more consistency, I guess. You can get the appropriate Lyrilusc out of your deck with this. And then the extra deck, honestly, the only things that matter are Assembled Nightingale, Promenade Thrush, Fucho, if you need to stall. Although if you're in a position where you have to go to Fucho, you're probably not, like, you're definitely not in a good position, and you're like in some kind of a grind game with blind second deck. That's not what you want to be. You have a Great Fly and Wind Charmer as generic link wins, but honestly, you're only going to go into like these 2 the majority of the time. And obviously, if you do own Recital Starling and you own Ensemble Robin, you would play these, especially Recital Starling. Like if you're a Lyrilusc enjoyer, this is crucial. It's not crucial. You don't need this, but it makes it so much easier if you happen to own Recital Starling. But again, this is a budget build, so if you don't have them, it's fine. Again, Duster, Storm, more copies of Lightning Storm, 1-for-1. The 1-for-1 literally gets any monster out of your deck. So if you own these URs, play these. They should not be here. I forgot to remove them from the last deck. And Swallow's Cowrie, and also another option. It's a better than a Swallow's Nest because you can swap one card from your hand for another one. So, example, you could run more slower Swallow, more some more. You can trade one of these out for an actual Lyrilusc with Swallow's Cowrie. So if you happen to have this as well, that's there too. And then yeah, I wouldn't don't run these Draco Utopian Auras. Don't run hand traps in this build. And don't run evenly because it's a OTK build. This is all gas you're playing. And Call By is like if you're really scared about Droll, but I wouldn't recommend it. You don't really need it. You could run Kaijus as well. You could also run like Dark Holes and Raigekis to. You can run more board breakers because I don't know what the format's going to be like. I don't know how many board breakers and how much back removal is necessary. Obviously, if you need more back removal, then you could run stuff like these, like Heavy Storms, more Lightning Storms, Twin Twisters as a budget option. If you need more monster removal or more ways to break boards, then obviously you can just run Dark Hole as well. Dark Hole is a super rare. Yeah, Dark Hole is an SR, so it's a budget alternative too. Obviously, if you have a Raigeki, if you have more copies of Raigeki, one Raigeki is free. The second one, if you have more copies of it, that also works if you need more monster removal. But yeah, you can basically, this is just like a, this is like the pool of all the good level 1 winged beasts that you can run, and then like some consistency cards, and then you can fill out the rest of whatever board breakers or whatever tech cards, whatever staples that you happen to own. Okay, so this deck is budget if and only if you have a copy of Stealth Kraken, which if you've been playing the game any amount of time, I really feel like you should, especially since these also came in, I think, either the Exceeds pack, the Exceeds reward, the Exceeds Cup reward packs, or the last WCS reward pack. One of the last two. They basically guarantee you to get a Kraken, and as long as you have a Kraken, you can build this deck. The rest of the deck stuff is SR and below, usually below, and obviously if you own other URs such as Armor Exceeds cards, I'll go over what you can run to upgrade. But Yeah, this is pretty simple. This is like an all gas build. You're just playing, I believe, the best level 4 fish shark monsters, and you're using them to just make level rank 4s, namely Kraken. You can make like, honestly, you could probably make triple Kraken in turn 1. Not that you need triple Kraken. You only really need one Kraken, because as long as you have one Kraken, you can just make multiple copies of Kraken spawn instead. And as long as you have the one Kraken, all your opponent's monsters are going to be ones can just pop your opponent's monsters just like a Kraken does, just without the burn damage. And you know, honestly, you don't even need Kraken half the time, because these pop waters anyways, and I think a lot of your matchups are going to be water decks anyways. So yeah, there you go. So we have a 3 Yosenju Princess. This just literally gets any fish monster, any fish monster level 4 or lower from your deck, which is most of your deck. You have the Xyz Remora. This basically most of the time it's gonna detach 2 off Kraken, and then summon 2 backs. Then you get 3 extra Xyz material off of this one card, Xyz Remora. You only play 2 of it because you need to actually. It's not an extender. It's sort of an extender. You have to be able to play the game in order for this to do anything first. And Kraken does not need any material to use its pop effect, so it's fine. You're fine detaching 2 materials off it. 3 Silent Angler. One of the better extenders. Be careful, you cannot special summon monsters from your hand the rest of the turn. If you do special summon this, careful about that restriction. Right Hand Shark is don't really need this, in all honesty. It's just like a, you know, if you're really desperate, you can make a Kraken that can't be destroyed by battle. Lantern Shark, this is mainly for the level modulation, and if you have a hand full of normal summons, then you can Yosenju Princess out a Lantern Shark, then Lantern Shark summon out one of your normal summons that's stuck in your hand, and then, you know, extend further from there. But the main thing is that this can count as a level 3, 4, or 5 water monster for an Xyz summon. So this is how you. Not really important if in a budget build, because you don't have very many good level 5 or rank 5 Xyz options. You can go into Grand Pulse with this as a rank 3, and then this is the only extra deck monster you have that interacts with spell and traps that you can easily make. So there is that. Also, in the Umi control matchup, if you're playing against Umi for some reason, a Legendary Ocean reduces all the levels of your monsters by 1. So oftentimes you can only go into this as your rank 3, but yeah, just go into this, pop their Umi, and then you go play like normal. Buzzsaw Shark gets any special summons, any level, basically any fish from your deck. So this is the 1 card rank 4. This is also a 1 card rank 4 Liveliest Leaf Fish. You dump Crystal Shark can summon itself back, and it should be treated as a level 4 monster for a number of Xyz, which Stealth Kraken is. So yeah, these are your 1 card rank 4s. You got 9 of them. And then if you have too many stuck in your hand, we have the new card, Fishborg Harpooner. This is from the Legacy Pack. This is in the Legacy Pack update. This is a fish, so that's important because Remora only revives fish. But you can reveal this and a water monster, and then this card 1 and special summon the other one. So basically, if you have too many normal summons, again, this deck does have a lot of normal summons stuck in your hand. You can use Harpooner to get them out of your hand. Additionally, this is also a tuner, so in the cases where you're not Xyz lock, like if you haven't used Crystal Shark, Buzzsaw Shark, or Lantern Shark yet, these are the cards that Xyz lock you. You can go into Synchros with this. Like, you can go into White Aura Whale. It's like a Regeki for attack position monsters. You can go into Ascon, which is these are level 8 Synchros, because this is a level 4 tuner, so most likely you're going to be making level 8 Synchros. Ascon just banishes a fish and a monster on your opponent's side of the field. And not even a monster, actually, it banishes a card your opponent controls, so that's nice. And then Rocco Dragon, in the case you want to go into this with Abyss Shark and Fishborg Harpooner, maybe that'll come up. But yeah, and if this is used as a synchro material, so if you go into one of these with Harpooner, then it negates a monster on your opponent's field too, so that's pretty nice. Abyss Shark is the best extended in the deck. Again, no Ash, so you can't get hit by this. This can't get Ashed, and therefore it's kind of unstoppable. You just summon this, and then it's a free extender, and you get to search any fish from your deck. So you can search any extender you want. you can search a Buzzsaw Shark if you have a Harpooner in hand. If you have a Buzzsaw in hand, you can search a Harpooner and then special summon a Buzzsaw and then get even more material that way. You can really see how you can easily just spam the board with level 4s for your Xyz. And yeah, Crystal Heart, as mentioned, is the main thing you dump off Fleetfish. It's also can summon from hand as well if you hard draw it. And Gamma Seal, this ties in with the Foolish Burial Goods and Ice Barrier package. So you're gonna Foolish Burial Goods, dump Ice Barrier. Ice Barrier dumps a level 5 or higher water monster. Then you can add a water monster from your grave to your hand. So usually you're gonna add Abyss Shark. You can use this to also just dump Gamma Seal and add Gamma Seal to hand as a free utility. And if you have other water monsters in grave already, you can add one of these back if they're already stuck in grave. You just can't Foolish them off of Ice Barrier because Ice Barrier only Foolishes level 5 or higher. And running Pots as consistency. And Desires, don't really care about banishing. Most of your cards are 3-ofs. And Prosperity, because more consistency. You just want to have as many. If you have like 3 to 4 water monsters in hand, that's a fine hand. You can push through a lot of things and extend past a lot of boards. Just play full gas. And like Chalice and Droplet are budget options. Droplet, this is the one from the bundle. If you have more copies of Droplet, you can consider that too, and maybe up the count of Ice Barrier as well, because then you can have Ice Barrier sending Droplet sending Ice Barrier also gets your engine going. Admittedly, doesn't work going first, so it's not as good as Foolish Burial Goods, but this card is limited in Master Duel. Thank you, Tier Limits. Triple Evenly Matched. You know, this is a super rare semi-staple, so yeah. One Imperm, again, if you have more copies of Imperm beyond just the bundle, play this. Same with Judgment. Judgment is a way to negate evenly match, so you don't lose all 3 of your Kragans going first. Mind Crush, this is not necessary, this is just a troll, but your opponent enters battle phase, you flip Mind Crush and you call evenly match. And then you realize that they're bluffing, and then you lose a card in your hand for no reason. So, whoops. Yeah, this is just for the memes. This is not. You probably replace it with like any 2 cards that you own, any random staples. It's not a bad card though. Like you can just call non-evenly cards because a lot of decks do a lot of searching this event. And extra deck again. None of these. Besides the Kragans and the Kragan spawns, a lot of these don't really matter. Like I went over the synchros, these are just random stuff. You can run any level 4 water Xyz you have. These are the budget ones. This is from the Legacy Pack. These are SR. This has a 0% win rate in Prague, so don't summon this, it's a trap, don't do it. And for other options, so obviously, if you want, you can run Pack Bit if you have it. It's a water synchro, funnily enough, so this is a removal with a Fishborg Harpooner. If you have the Armored Xyz package, like i.e. you have full Armored Dark Lancer, you can run the Armored Xyz package, obviously with this deck. It's just a UR. If you have other rank 5s, all the good rank 5s for Sharks are unfortunately URs, so you probably don't have them, but if you do, those are other options. Again, rank 4 options that are URs, Dweller, you might probably have this. Silent Honor probably don't have this, but yeah, Foolish Burial can dump Right Hand Shark as an extender or dump Crystal Shark as a free extender. 1-for-1 gets Beautiful Princess. You probably have 1-for-1, so feel free to run this if you have it. And yeah, just more staples and all of that stuff. So yeah, Sharks, full gas, Kragan Turbo. This is pretty, again, very cheap. No new URs necessary, and it's honestly, I think this is gonna be fine as long as you just don't get evenly for your life too often. Now, also we have comma 1, comma 2, comma 3, Yosenju. Apparently, these cards are wind. Hands up if you knew that before coming into this event. But yeah, because of that, these are legal, and probably the most budget way to play this deck is some sort of blind second, you know, involving Kaijus. You know, you give your opponent Kaijus, classic, you can bounce the Kaijus back if you're Yosenju monsters. You swarm the field with your Yosenju monsters, attack directly, get the Kaiju back, prepare for next turn, so on, so on. Then you have stuff like Sword Sting and Secret Move to potentially keep you alive on the crackback after, like from the crackback after you wipe your opponent's board. Again, maybe not the best strategy, but I'm not sure about the OTK potential a lot of these decks, but I mean, this is fine too, because you're just playing all the board breakers that you do own. You know, like Tactics, Raigeki is free, the Dark Holes. If you own Kaiju Slumber, it is honestly one of the best. It's literally like the best card in this deck, because then you can Kaiju your opponent, attack with your Kamas, return the Kaiju to your hand for next turn, and then you have the Kaiju. Then you have the Kaiju Slumber engraved for search for a Kaiju the next turn. Like, it's only so great if you have Kaiju Slumber, but I feel like most people that own Kaiju Slumber probably aren't, you know, in the range or needing a budget deck like this, like me included. But I mean, if you just want to play Yosenju and you want to flex the Slumber, go for it. It is probably the best card in the deck. And yeah, for the obviously you got the 3 Tenkies, the 2 Isna, 1 Sujik. I don't know how many of these you could run. Sujik, not really that great. It just gives your one single Yosenju monster 1k attack, so it's like, well, whatever, right? But Isna lets you draw a card, so that's important. If you have any of these main 3 commas going, and then you can go into Isna, and you get to draw cards every turn. That's nice. And then this is the deck that runs all 4 pots. Again, duality is probably questionable because you're running Kaijus with this, so maybe not this, but definitely you can run Desires, Extract, and Prosperity, because as you can see, you don't give a crap about any of these cards in the Extract. I don't think the Extract matters at all. Probably the only card that would matter is Lightning Story. This card's actually really good. It's summoned, you target a set card, and then you can spin a face-up card. So it can potentially get rid of 2 cards. It forces at least 1 card out, any back route on this. Otherwise, you're losing 2 cards off the Chidori. Yeah, you have Chalice. Again, this is a budget option. Probably if you have stuff like more copies of Droplet. If you have Thrust, that's a big one because you're blinding second, so Thrust is going to be more live. Same with Tactics. Again, you have Heavy Storm and Duster and more copies of Lightning Storm. Those are also going to be good. I would not run evenly in this deck because this is a battle phase reliant deck, and you know, going into battle phase using evenly, then main phase 2, you can't. Your Yosenju monsters don't really do that much after that without the battle phase, so I would not recommend. But yeah, Droll is again budget hand trap. Don't know how good it's gonna be, but you know, just fill up the space. But yeah, Yosenju, Wind, Beast Warriors, and as you can tell, also pretty cheap. So yeah, there you have it. Even though I know a lot of you don't have many water or wind decks available, I hope I gave you some budget options that you can maybe try out. If not all else fails, again, these loaners are really great anyway, so don't feel like you're missing out by playing these either. And if you're one of the lucky few people who do own actual legit water and wind deck, you know, or water wind cards, go check out the other video I did showcasing some of the stronger decks that you can be playing here for this event, if you do own all the URs for them.